Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. What's missing in this picture? So this is the isthmus, or what I call the isthmus, when Adventures with Purpose found the Honda. Can you see, even from this distance, the red, white and blue Adventures with Purpose regalia, the distinctive branding? This is it up close. And here it is again. Do you see any white and blue trailers in this image taken during the actual salvage? How about this image? If you actually watch the Adventures with Purpose debrief, the members only debrief of how they found Kylie's vehicle, they actually show law enforcement turning up and their own vehicles turning away and leaving the site quite early in the day. Well, what does that have to do with whether they knew that the vehicle was in neutral? Well, everything. Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. According to the Daily Beast, quote, by 11:15 a.m., Adventures with Purpose diver Nick Rinn detected an object underwater using sonar technology. I was able to then confirm that it was in fact a vehicle in roughly 14 feet of water and only 55 feet offshore, end quote. So there we've got confirmation of the time that the confirmation was made, right? So quite early in the morning. Adventures with Purpose also acknowledged that because this was an active investigation, their role was limited to locating the vehicle and arguably confirming the vehicle was Kylie's. After that, the scene effectively became a crime scene and was then handed over to the authorities. In other words, AWP played zero role in turning the vehicle over, towing it out, or entering or interfering with the vehicle in any way. In fact, if you look at the footage, the underwater footage of the vehicle, at no point do the cameras enter within the driver capsule. So there was no way they could determine if the vehicle was in neutral or not. Bear in mind the gear shift wasn't on the ground level, it would have been upwards. The diver would have had to get almost level with the ground in order to see upwards to the window into the dark cockpit. So not only would it be difficult to see, there would be no way they could determine if the vehicle was in neutral or not. In fact, they would have been instructed by law enforcement not to interfere with the interior of the vehicle. Yesterday, one of my mods contacted me on Instagram and drew my attention to a comment in chat during the last live stream. And what was written there was ADP confirmed it was neutral gear in another channel's live. Well, I think ADP refers to AWP. They definitely didn't confirm anything about neutral in their own documentary. So at 13 minutes into a particular live stream, I'll put a link to that and the timestamp so you can listen to it yourself. The creator asks Jared from Adventures with Purpose, can you confirm whether the vehicle was in neutral? Jared gives a kind of a cryptic answer. He says, first of all, while our team did not look at what gear it was in, so in other words, they didn't confirm, so they wouldn't know. He then extrapolates that it must have been in neutral because how else would the vehicle have towed out with the wheels turning? And so other people have been saying, oh, so they do know that it was in neutral, that it was found in neutral all along. Well, absolutely not. It doesn't mean that. What it likely means is that when law enforcement arrived on the scene and you can see boats, you can see the sheriff's boats and their divers in the area, when they went down, they likely documented the scene as well. But it was up to them to salvage the vehicle, to dredge it, to sort of get it out the water. And obviously you're not going to do that with the car in gear if it was in gear. So if it was in neutral, they would have left it in neutral. If it wasn't in neutral, they would have put it in neutral. I do think if Adventures with Purpose had found that it was in neutral, if they had observed this in some way, they would have made a big thing of it in their documentary. Especially because the vehicle in neutral would point to foul play. If you would put it in neutral to get it out, if you weren't driving the vehicle, the only way really to push it in would also be to put it in neutral. So the whole neutral narrative lines up with the foul play narrative. Except we don't know that it was in neutral. We know it was in neutral when it went out. We don't know if it was in neutral when it went in. And I think it probably wasn't in neutral when it went in. 3 additional points of interest. Number 1, SF Investigates appears to be quite upset with how the Rodney family were recorded when they were told the news on camera that their daughter had been found. What I've been wondering about, though, is another tweet SF Investigates sent, seemingly confirming the time the parents knew about AWP's discovery. He puts it at 2:48 p.m. If the discovery was at 11 a.m. and SF Investigates is accurate, then it took almost 4 hours to alert a family member. According to the Daily Beast, quote, Nick Rinn then suited up his gear and conducted the dive to formally identify and assess the vehicle. After confirming it was Rodney's car, he added that the group immediately notified law enforcement and the teenager's family. Now, interestingly, in the article, it doesn't say notified, it says noticed. I think that's a typo. The article goes on to say, Bishop added that within minutes, Rodney's father and grandfather were at the scene. Local news outlets captured the SUV, I'm not sure if it's SUV or CRV, being pulled from Prosser Lake on Sunday evening. The article goes on to say, on Monday, however, Brown, that's Captain Brown from the Sheriff's Office, said he believes local law enforcement reached out to Adventures with Purpose after they read the news headline. He added that there are still some sketchy details about how the group contacted the Rodney family. I think they have said that they only had a particular contact that I think was an aunt and maybe a grandmother, but you do see them reaching out to them. Then the second thing to highlight is that, as alluded to in my previous live, I was gobsmacked that none of us noticed the rear driver's side window was 2/3 open. You could actually see that in the original footage, right beside the yellow aqualung of one of the divers. You can actually see that one of the windows is sort of 1/3 up or 2/3 down. No one that I know of commented on this, and it was actually right there. And then the third thing, and I think it's something to say on Kylie's, what would have been her 17th birthday, if there's any doubt that Kylie didn't have it in her to fight for her life, to try to kick out that passenger window, to be feisty and brave in her final moments, and actually succeed in kicking it out, this image ought to put those ideas to rest. And then this is a post put up by Jagger, a tribute to Kylie on her 17th birthday. So I'm not going to take it further than that. I will be sharing in the next analysis some insight into what to expect from the autopsy and toxicology. So look out for that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.